totally have to have one of these. Sparkling water is everything. Hey y'all, welcome to the Suburban Stitcher podcast. My name is Diane and today is February 5th, 2019. This is episode 163, I believe. And I am so happy that you have taken the time to join me today. If you are a brand new viewer, thank you so much for trying out my podcast. I have seen lots of new subscribers. The numbers are going up. And so thank you so much for subscribing to this video. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back each and every time. I have been doing this for, I don't even know how many years now, maybe 5, 6, I don't know, doesn't matter. But I am just so excited that you are here with me and taking the time to watch my little piece of the knitting world. I also want to take this opportunity to make sure that I invite you all again to like and subscribe to this channel. So you can subscribe to this channel by hitting the little subscribe button down in YouTube. I don't mention that often, but it actually really does help me have an idea for how many people are watching this video, and it also helps other people find videos like this because it pops me up in the trending and what people are watching now in the knitting podcast arena. So I would really appreciate it if you took the time to do that. And if you think you're subscribed because you've been watching for a long time and you are not, then just double check. And if it says subscribe, that means you're not. And so you just click on that and you will be. So thank you so much. And as always, likes and comments are encouraged. Announcements for this week. We are in the middle of our ongoing year-long knit-along for #GetSuburban, and this is a year-long knit-along where any project that you knit that is 50% or more knit out of Suburban Stitcher yarn is eligible for entry, and all you have to do is talk about it and post it in the thread on Ravelry. It's a chatter encouragement thread and progress posts and planning, and everything is all together. And we're just going to help each other celebrate all things Suburban Stitcher yarn. So it's an easy cal to be a part of. Even if you're not knitting, even if you're dreaming or planning, you can still participate and you still might win something. So I encourage you to head over to the Ravelry group on Ravelry. The Suburban Stitcher Ravelry group, and you can head over there. And again, if you would become a member of that, that would be amazing. I try to be active over there, and I have to be honest, that is the one place that I quite often forget to check and be super active in, but I do read everything, and sometimes I just don't comment. So I'm trying to be better and more intentional with that this year. So the winner this week for the Get Suburban Cal, I was so excited when I saw this. The winner is actually post number 38, and that is Obsidian78, who is my friend Kim from the Houston area. So Kim, congratulations. I was so excited when I saw your name come up. I just couldn't be happier. So you are winning your choice of pattern from iRock Knits Ravelry store. And iRock Knits is Corey Eichelberger. She is a fabulous designer who I've had the pleasure of meeting, and Kim has had the pleasure of meeting at the Zombie Knitpocalypse retreat. She is the co-author of the, oh gosh, 52. It's not Highway 52, Knitting 52. Oh, I'm gonna have to put that in here somewhere, but she co-authored a book with Megan, who is one half of the Stockinette Zombie podcast, and also co-organizer of the Zombie Knitpocalypse retreat. And so Megan and Corey have written a pattern book together. Corey is an amazing designer, and she's offered up a choice of a pattern from her shop. So Kim, definitely message me, let me know that you've seen this, and I will have Corey, or let me know which pattern you would like, and I will have Corey send that over to you. And then also a knit along that we have going on this week is this month is the Rainbow Along. And this is one of my favorite knit alongs of the year. It's so happy. Everybody's projects are always so bright and exciting and pretty. And I love this knit along so much. So I have pulled a winner from the chatter thread to win a pattern prize from one of our sponsors, and I pulled Martha 24 Jane. She's going to win a copy of the Catch the Rainbow socks by CC Allman. So congratulations, Martha 24 Jane. If you will message me on Ravelry and just let me know that you've seen this, and I will get a copy of that pattern over to you. So thank y'all so much for participating in our CALs. So my first work in progress this week is a pair of socks that I have had on the needles. We've talked about many times, and they're getting very close to being done. So I hesitated to even show them, but I really have done quite a bit of work on them. So these are my West Yorkshire Spinners. Hollyberry, I believe, is the color, but it's got a number, and I have a project page for it, so you can go out on Ravelry and search for it. I am DBB Stitch on Ravelry. Also, I would like to say thank everybody so much for the feedback on last week's episode. I actually tried to take a couple of people's suggestion, including my mom, who said, why don't you try the Suburban Stitcher? And that is too many characters. Suburban Stitcher, however many characters that is one less than the maximum number of characters that you can have for a username. And I could do like Suburban Dash Stitcher or Suburban _ Stitcher, but I just feel like, I don't know, I don't want to have to say underscore or dash every single time I give my name. Anyway, thank you for the feedback. I'm still pondering what to do. Okay, so these are my West Yorkshire Spinners Hollyberry socks. This is the first pair, or the first sock that I finished before Christmas sometime. Finally, after years of being on the needles, the first sock is done. And it's a self-patterning sock. Very like woolly wool. It's a little bit like the yarn itself is rather thin, like in width, I guess. It's a very light fingering, I would say. It is not a heavy fingering. So the first sock is done. And the second sock, I am almost to the toe. So I have done the cuff, the Fish Lips Kiss heel in the accent color, and I think that I have figured out that I have maybe 3 more stripes, 2 or 3 more stripes to do, and then I get to do the toe. So this should get finished this week. It got a lot of work done last night while I was waiting at a basketball game and watching the basketball game. So I'm very close to having this finally off the needles, and then I'm going to start my mustache apple picking socks for the Rainbow Along, because I don't have any other vanilla socks on the needles, and actually after I finish this one I will only have one other pair on the needles, and it's my Galliano socks that I started in November when I was on Galliano Island, and I think that I need to do a few more repeats at home to make sure that I understand that pattern before it becomes an out and about sock for me. So, because of that, I need to have an on-the-go sock, and that will be those mustache socks. So that is one work in progress. My second work in progress, which I will not show, again, it has to be done by February 12th. So it's 1 week from today. It has to be finished. I have 7 days, and I have a schedule of how much I need to do every single day in order to get it done on time. I am feeling confident, so that's good. I feel like that is a manageable goal. Like once I figured out, okay, if I do this, then I really can get it done on time, I felt like, okay, I don't have to stress and just have this, oh my gosh. So anyway, but that's living in my fringe bag, and it is knit out of Suburban Stitcher sock in the Predictability colorway. I have showed it many times, but I will show it again. Let's see if I can find one of the balls that's not attached right now. This is Suburban Stitcher in Predictability. This is on the sock base. Okay, the next project that I worked on is my Nightshift shawl. I did not work a very lot on it, but I did work some. So I think I maybe just did this little pink section right here. Now, there is going to be quite the dramatic stop just in the colors that I chose and where they're falling and where they fell, like in the color scheme of the actual skein. There's going to be obviously quite a line there in between my beginning section and the middle section, which is fine because I love pink and I'm gonna have this bright pink section in the middle of my shawl, and I'm so excited. The 2 colors that I'm using right now are quite similar, and so you can see that it's just starting right here. Like the first couple of rows are very hard to distinguish the 2 colors. Up here, one of them is becoming a lot lighter and a lot grayer, and the background color is becoming a lot darker, and so it's easier to tell. I still have quite a bit to go on this shawl, but I'm loving it. Like the times that I've worked on it, I am really, really loving it still. It's so intuitive. Once you have the pattern, you have it. I have finished using totally this dark teal color, which I think is Melancholia. I'm almost positive. And I know that the one pink color that I'm using is Heart Sigh. This is this lighter one that has pinks and grays. And this darker one, I can't remember. But I love it. It is so pretty. All these reds and oranges are just so beautiful. So I'm really loving it. And if you're interested, I haven't weighed this. I guess I could right here. My scale is right here. This is what I have left from Melancholia, which is, let's see how many grams. That is 9 grams out of a starting weight of, do I have my labels? Where did they go? Let's just pick any label. 150 yards. It doesn't say the number of grams. 150 yards. I didn't weigh any of them to start with, but there you go. So I have 9 grams left, which I feel like is really good use of the yarn. I am already thinking about doing some sort of marled or scrappy hat with all these leftovers, because this is precious yarn. If you have priced out projects in Spin Cycle, then you know it is beautiful, precious yarn, and I want to use every little bit. I also would be interested to know, anyone who has done the throwback, how many grams of each color did you use, if you have that? If you have that information. Because, I mean, wouldn't that be great if I had enough to... seems like that's impossible. Like there's no way that it would be enough, but what if it was? Anyway, if you've made that and you have your gram total, message me and let me know. So that's happening. It's a little, everything, to be quite honest, is on the back burner until that test knit is done, because I refuse to fail on this test knit. And the last thing that I worked on, and I literally just worked on it one night because I just needed this like happy moment, because it was Friday night. And I cast on my Rewilding shawl that I talked about last week. I haven't cast anything new on in quite a while. And I think since my Plumpy shawl or this test knit, kind of all at the same time. And I needed to cast something on. I needed it. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. So this is the shawl. It is by Helen Stewart. It calls for a light fingering weight, 500 yards, but her sample used about 450, or maybe it's 550 yards, but her sample used about 500, something like that. But because of her amazing system where she gives you the percentage, you can weigh your start skein, and then you can figure out as you go if you will be able to make the whole shawl or if you have to make modifications later on. The yarn that I'm using is hand spun, and it is a gorgeous hand spun by A Thing for String. And I purchased it at DFW last year, and I will be purchasing more, which is why I wanted to get this on the needles so that I can justify buying another skein this year. This was like my really special souvenir from DFW last year to myself after having an amazing show. So I did start the shawl, and oh my gosh, look at this. Look how beautiful. So you start at this tip and then you're increasing, and I just love the color changes so far. This hand spun is doing amazing magical things, and I cannot wait to see what it's gonna do. So like I said, I just worked on it one evening because I just needed to start something. I needed to not work on my test knit because it was hurting my brain and do something that was just really fun and, like, I don't know, not empowered me, but like inspired me. I guess that's the right word. And that did the trick, and I cannot wait to work on it again. So that is it for works in progress. I do want to talk about one thing that is an upcoming whip. I have mentioned it before. Let's see, do I have where is it in here? And this I'm keeping in my, that I haven't really used yet, but I just put it in here. This is my Plystra project bag. So it's a perfect sweater size. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm really excited to use it and have a much better idea for its functionality. But I did cast on and knit one round of a sweater that I have not allowed myself to touch since, because I've got to finish the test knit. But the party top, this is one of my Make 9. It's a DK weight cropped 3/4 sleeve sweater. It has the detail on the sleeves is like an eyelet, and then the regular, like the main part of the body, is just all stockinette. Looks like the ribbing is twisted rib. And I've waxed poetic about this sweater before. My favorite thing about it is that it should only take 3 skeins of yarn for my size, which is amazing. So I cast it on, and then it's been sitting for like 3 weeks, just haunting me and waiting for me to finish. So this is cast on, that's it. And The reason that I cast it on and then set it to the side is because I wanted to do a tubular cast on, and I was working on something else that has a tubular cast on, and while it was in my like brain space, I wanted to do this and then be done with it. So so I did, and it is just great. And yeah, so tubular cast on and 1 row, and then it will be set aside again till I'm done. This is my Happy Accident colorway, which is a very dark plummy gray color with speckles of purple, like an orchidy purple, and golden yellow, and a navy. So this is Happy Accident. That's it in the cake. Here it is in the skeins. Give you a better idea of the color splashes. So that is upcoming, and I have one other project that I've been thinking about for quite a while, but today, like as I was working and doing other things, I finally like got in my head what I want to do. So, oh, let me put this up so it doesn't get lost. I am going to be knitting, and I say am going to be because I am obsessed with this. I am going to be knitting the Pangera pullover, I think that's how you say it, by Christina Dianne, and I'm going to get in close there. It is this beautiful cropped shirt, kind of a wide neck, and it's got these gorgeous swirly details. I wonder if she has a close-up. She does right there, but I don't want to risk. See if I can like come down from, there we go. Okay, so do you see the swirls on the top and the sleeves? And then it's also on the bottom. So that's, that detail to me is stunning. Like I just absolutely love it. I'm obsessed with it. I just think the idea of having what's really a very basic boxy cropped shirt, but then having that color work that's in that very unique, almost like a Persian scroll work or something. I am obsessed. So I want to show you what I'm going to knit it with. Okay, so I am going to knit it with Bang Bang, because I kept 2 skeins for myself because I needed it in my life. Also, I needed to keep 2 to make sure that I can recreate this thing. I really hope I can. If I can't, then I may not be using it for that, but anyway. And then Curry. I think that will make the most beautiful shirt. It will be so fun for like all of the vending and events and things that I go to, like to have just a fun one. Like I've got my test knit is in Predictability, and I have other like very pastel, very, very pretty samples, and I need one that's like with a punch, right? And so Bang Bang definitely does that. Anyway, so that's my plan for Bang Bang and Curry, is the Pangera pullover. So that is up and coming. Okay, hello lovelies. I got a gleaner, and that's not super exciting. That's the only thing that's new that's come into my life that's knitting related. But I got a gleaner because I wear sweaters and I knit sweaters, and now they're pilling and I needed to depill them. So I got a gleaner and I've used it, and it does what it says it's supposed to do. So there's my review. I got it on Amazon. I'll put a link to the one that I purchased, and I want to say here, it's in my show notes where I put all the links. But anytime I link to something that's on Amazon, I am an Amazon affiliate. And so if you use that link to purchase the item, then they do send me, you know, pennies for each purchase or each click through, and just kind of, there's various scenarios that work into how I get paid for that. But every little bit adds up, and I totally appreciate that. That's an easy way that costs you nothing to support the podcast. So if you are purchasing something because I have enabled you and you want to purchase it, and the best way to do that is to click through that link and then purchase it from there. And that's Amazon. I think that's the only one that does like that. Okay, the sun is coming out. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Like, I feel like literally I need to run right now into my garage and go pull all of my yarn out so it will dry, because it is so sticky and muggy. I have had yarn dyed for 3 days trying to dry, and it's just not drying. It's so humid here. Like normal season, right? Anyway, the thing, oh my gosh, that was just an avalanche. Sorry. The thing that I wanted to talk about is a couple of website things. If you purchased anything through the Peach Collective, or you have been on the website anytime in the last couple of weeks, you might have noticed that it got a little bit of a facelift. I've made some things a little bit easier to find on the website. I hope they're easier to find. The menus at the top are a little bit crisper and a little bit cleaner. And so I hope that that's helpful for you. If you ever have issues finding anything on the website, please send me an email. I'm Dianne at suburbanstitcher.com. And I'm Dianne with 2 N's. D-I-A-N-N-E. Obviously, I won't get it if you forget, and it's Dianne with 1 N. It's Dianne with 2 N's at suburbanstitcher.com. So email me if you're having trouble with the website. But I have updated the event list on there. It should be at the very top. I think I have a little thing that says where to find Dianne. And it's updated with a ton of things. And I just have like all the 2019 events I'm attending, events, like if a shop is doing a trunk show, I'll have it listed there, and the dates. And I try to designate, like if it's a trunk show, because sometimes I'm there at trunk shows and sometimes I'm not. So I will put, you know, yarn only or in person to help you know if it's just my yarn or if it's an event where I'm going to be. So please check that out. I have added a couple of trunk shows that are very exciting, not all in the Houston area. So if you are in the Midwest, you might want to go check that list out. And then Ravelry group, I started a thread in the Ravelry group for colorway yarn requests. And I probably need to go back and clarify this, because this isn't like, I love the beach, can you make me a skein called Florida? Like, no. This is, I really would like to see overcast, a color that I already dye, on mohair, because I haven't seen that in the shop in a while. Can you add that to your list? Like, that is what I'm looking for. Sometimes it's really hard to know what people are wanting, and I love to make people happy by putting what you want to see in the shop. So if you leave a comment in there, then that gives me guidance as I do shop updates and just update the shop. Okay, so speaking of the shop, Park Passport Yarn Club. February yarn clubs are up. Many of you have already purchased them. Thank you so much. There are still quite a few left, and I will leave it up, you know, usually about a week. So it will probably come down, let's see, it went up yesterday at midnight, so maybe through the end of Sunday, let's say that, or early Monday morning whenever I get up. Something in that, you know, kind of like that. I want to show you January's yarn. So January was Rocky Mountain National Park. And I was inspired by a specific location in Rocky Mountain National Park that is special to me. I've talked about it before, I think on episode 159, but it is a lookout hike at the very top of Trail Ridge Road in Rocky Mountain National Park that is always cold, and even in August it's freezing and windy and snowing. Sometimes I have pictures growing up when we would go there and it was snowing and we're in our shorts and, you know, freezing cold. And so I was just inspired by like that coldness of that spot and sort of the looking out. A lot of times it's like really hazy up there because it's so high up and windy. And so there were just sort of a lot of things that I had in my head. And so this is what I developed, which seems like a non-color really on the screen. But when you pull it in close, so I knew I wanted it to be very pale. The reason for that is because of like the snow, and I really wanted some of these speckles to be the star. And so it is sort of a gray and slightly green background. Very, very pale grays and like mossy greens. And then it has a couple of different colors of speckles. This dark green that's certainly, you know, for the trees. And then it has a green that does a funny thing and makes, every once in a while, it makes these rainbow like splotches. And I want to try to find a section. So like right in here, I don't know if you can see the reds, and then sometimes it'll be blue or yellow. It just does fun things. And that reminded me of like when you're on these hikes, like everybody in their clothes and they're different colors and they're hiking and you're looking at their backs as you're walking up the mountain. So, and then of course, like the gray to me, oh, here's some like orangey and almost purpley speckles down there. So, and some, you know, as with speckles, some skeins had tons of speckles and some skeins had not very many. And that's just the nature of the hand-dyed yarn. I do my best to get them as even as possible, but you know, sometimes there's just more or less of certain colors or speckles or whatever. The gray background was important to me because it's the Rocky Mountains. And so that felt like that stone. I needed that grounding, but also like the hazy gray. So anyway, I have gotten so much great feedback from this skein and I'm so excited that many of you like it. It is one that it will probably come to the shop maybe later this year. But for now, it's exclusive to club members and will not be repeated maybe for quite a while. February is up in the shop. The theme for this month, February, is Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park. That is a national park that I have wanted to visit for a very long time. I've never been to California outside of the San Francisco airport. I have never seen trees like sequoias, and like the magical quality of a tree that you can literally stand inside of that is that big. I mean, I grew up in the South and we had big live oak trees, but a sequoia is like bigger than my mind can even understand. And to see that, and then just these thick, lush forests, and then also the kind of the juxtaposition of the canyons with the like the browns and the adobe colors and the tans. So I'm really excited to interpret that into a yarn. What I can say is that this month, a little bit of a spoiler, is I will not make it another pale yarn. It will be more saturated. So if you are looking for something that's not a pale pastel non-color, then you might be more excited by February's Yarn Club. I haven't dyed it yet, but I have a plan and I kind of know what I'm doing. So that is shop news. And then the other thing, and I would love your feedback on this. I have this yarn that you know, some people, it's new to the dyeing world, and a lot of dyers are talking about it, and some are dyeing it already, dyeing on it. I got this yarn to test. It is it is a 74% baby Surrey alpaca, 26% silk. So it's like a mohair silk, but it's alpaca silk. It is a lot fluffier. It's a lot thicker than a mohair. It is also a lot softer. Now, I historically have issues with alpaca, and I like do not. Like, I can just rub this all over and it is so soft. And sometimes I go like this with alpaca and it feels like I want to jump out of my body. It's like, get away from me, that it's just so bad. And this does not do that. I want to knit with this skein. I think this is more of a fingering weight. I would confidently say that. This is more of a fingering weight, and the mohair is definitely a lace weight. So I don't know, like, if you can see that. It's just a lot thicker than a mohair. So if this is something that you would like either as a special order option, like a custom order option, or if you would like to see me just add it to the shop on some colors to start with, let me know. I haven't ordered anything except for the sample skein, but I'm open to ordering it if it's something that my customers want to see. So let me know. And then the other thing is that it's kind of shop news, but it's more just like knitting, is I pulled out some of these shawls that are 1 skein or 1.5 skein, 2 skein projects, because we all have seen all of the major, huge, big shawls out there. But I have rediscovered several 1 skein projects in my finished knitting drawer, and I really like them. So this is Spindrift. All of a sudden, as soon as I say that, I feel very unsure of myself that that's the name. I will double check it. And if it's wrong, I will have alerted you on the screen. Spindrift by Helen Stewart. It's a free pattern when you subscribe to her newsletter. And it's a elongated crescent with these beautiful eyelet details at the bottom and a picot bind off. I knit this out of an MCS, Merino Cashmere Silk yarn. I don't remember the brand, but it's on my project page. It is so luxurious and wonderful, and it's so soft, and it really is just the perfect amount of warmth to have around your neck if you need, like, I need to be warm, I need to cover this open spot on my neck, but I don't need to be blanketed in a shawl, right? Because sometimes you just need a little bit of something. So I think that this is one that I may knit up in one of my yarns and have it as a sample, because it's such a beautiful wearable size. I knit this several years ago before I was dyeing yarn. So this is Spindrift. And then another shawl that I knit, this is my yarn. And I wore it on the podcast, I think, a few weeks ago, but I really want to knit another sample and just a different color choice. This is Delphinia by Amba O'Brien. It's two colors, but you don't use all of both colors. It's maybe like 150 grams total. And so it's a little tiny bit bigger, but because of the lace, and I knit this out of a single ply, it is so light and drapey and lovely. And so I think that this would be really nice to have another sample knit out of in totally different colors, just to see, you know, really as like a color study. I'm thinking about knitting another one, or having another one knit. We'll see. It might be something for a sample knitter, where instead of the garter being the variegated and this being a solid, like switching that, where the eyelet is a speckle, and this is a solid. We'll see. I really like this way that this is done, so I may not change it, but I might. I just love Amba O'Brien's designs. This is very graphic, but very easy and approachable for a new shawl knitter. And the techniques are not difficult. So this is a really great shawl if you are a beginner and you have a couple of skeins that you love, but you're not sure what to do with. This is such a great pattern. Delphinia. So I think that about does it for this week. I didn't think I was going to talk this long, but I sure do get wordy sometimes. Thank you all so much for watching this week and for supporting the podcast. Again, you can like and subscribe this video down below, and make sure that you are a member of the Ravelry group on Ravelry Suburban Stitcher podcast, and we have a lot of fun interacting over there. Thanks, y'all. Bye.